2. The data. Horn components 2008 to 2022. A. Overview of the data set. The data presented in this series were collected over several years from authorized dealer parts catalogs. The same database is used by franchise dealerships and authorized repair facilities to identify and order replacement components. The Horn dataset covers the period from 2008 through 2022 and includes complete part number record for Ford, Tesla, and Chery. For each manufacturer, the dataset records the total number of distinct Horn part numbers offered, the year each part was introduced, the year each part was discontinued, if applicable, and therefore the number of years each part remained available. From these records, churn rates can be calculated. The percentage of parts discontinued within 1, 2, 3, and 4 years of introduction. B. Summary statistics. The adjacent table summarizes the key findings from the Horn component dataset. The table shows the breakdown and distribution of many tens of Ford Horns and their discontinuance of use during their first 4 years of production. The table also shows that none of the Tesla nor Chery Horns were discontinued. C. Interpreting the numbers. A note on terminology. Why parts churn? Throughout this series, the pattern exhibited by Ford's component data is described by the term parts churn. The choice of this term is deliberate and warrants explanation because a more neutral alternative, component proliferation, is available and might seem more appropriate for an analytical document. Component proliferation accurately describes what happens. Part numbers accumulate in large numbers, but it is studiously non-judgmental about why it happens or who benefits. It could describe a manufacturer responding conscientiously to genuine engineering diversity. It carries no implication of intent. Parts churn is more precise. Webster's dictionary defines churn in its financial sense as the practice of a stockbroker who makes the account of a client excessively active by frequent purchases and sales primarily in order to generate commissions. The mechanism is identical to what the Ford Horn data described. Turnover generated not because the client's interests require it, but because the turnover itself is the source of revenue. The wrongfulness lies not in any individual transaction, but in the pattern, a pattern of activity that serves the seller at the expense of the buyer. The parallel to automobile parts is exact. Each individual Ford part number change may be defensible in isolation. The pattern, 140 Horn parts, 37.9% discontinued within 4 years, against a competitor's 8 parts with 0 discontinued, is not defensible as engineering. It is, in the most precise available sense, churn. One may debate whether a car dealer or a stockbroker occupies a higher position in the public's esteem. What is not debatable is that the mechanism is the same. Parts churn is used here because it is the most accurate description of the data, not as a rhetorical flourish. Ford, extreme parts churn. Ford's 140 Horn part numbers represent an extraordinary degree of parts churn for a component as functionally simple as a horn. To put this in perspective, if Ford's entire Horn catalog were spread evenly across its model lineup, which numbered approximately 15 to 20 distinct nameplates during this period, each nameplate would be associated with 7 to 9 distinct horns across the study window. In practice, the churn is concentrated. Certain platforms generated multiple part numbers through minor variations, while others saw a rapid succession of short-lived parts. The churn figures are especially revealing. Of Ford's 140 Horn parts, 53, more than 1 in 3, were discontinued within 4 years. This means that a consumer who purchased a Ford vehicle in, say, 2010, faced a meaningful probability that the Horn parts specific to their vehicle would be unavailable from Ford within 4 years of purchase. Vehicles are routinely kept for 10, 15, or 20 years. A part discontinued in year 4 of a vehicle's life will be unavailable for the great majority of that vehicle's operational life through authorized channels. The average of 4.4 years in production for Ford horn parts, against a vehicle operational life typically measured in decades, represents a profound mismatch between component availability and vehicle longevity. This mismatch is not an accident of engineering. It is a structural feature of a parts management philosophy that treats component obsolescence as a tool of commercial policy. Tesla, 8 parts, 0 churn. Tesla offered 8 horn part numbers over the same 14-year period, covering a model lineup that grew from a single product, the original Roadster, through the Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Model Y. All 8 parts remained in use as of the end of the study period. None was discontinued. Tesla's approach reflects a deliberate engineering philosophy. Design components to be interchangeable across platforms where possible, avoid unnecessary variation, and maintain availability for the full life of the vehicle. The result is a catalog that is comprehensible to technicians, manageable for suppliers, and genuinely serviceable for consumers. It is worth noting that Tesla's approach is sometimes attributed to its status as a younger, smaller company with fewer legacy platforms. This argument is not persuasive. Tesla's lineup during the study period included vehicles with meaningfully different electrical architectures, body structures, and performance envelopes. The decision to maintain a compact, stable horn catalog was a choice, not an inevitability. Chery, 19 parts, 0 churn, and the longest-lived horn in the dataset. Chery Automobile, headquartered in Wuhu, Anhui Province, China, is a manufacturer of scale broadly comparable to Tesla during the study period, with annual production in the range of 500,000 to 800,000 vehicles. Chery's horn catalog comprised 19 parts during the study window, more than Tesla's, reflecting a broader international model lineup, but fraction of Ford's 140. Like Tesla, Chery discontinued 0 horn parts during the study period. Most remarkably, Chery's longest-running horn part had been in continuous production for 21 years as of the end of the dataset, the longest production span of any horn component across all 3 manufacturers. This single data point encapsulates the difference in manufacturing philosophy, where Ford retired 37.9% of its horn parts within 4 years. Chery maintained a single part in continuous production for more than 2 decades. This is not an anomaly. It reflects a consistent approach to component design. Engineer for longevity, avoid unnecessary variation, and resist the temptation to differentiate through superficial part number changes that generate revenue without adding value.